Hello there and welcome back to Scrap with Penny. Today I have a 2021 layout on my agenda. I've mentioned that I'm working on knocking out 2021 and this year. That's kind of my goal. And so I've got these pictures and I found a page map that works, except of course the orientation of the photos is different. And so obviously, you could do this or you could do this, but I like the configuration of the papers as shown. So I'm going to keep the papers in this fashion, and then I'm going to rotate my photo configuration. What is that? 90 degrees to the left. So I thought that before I started on papers that I would talk for a little bit about these page maps, because they don't have any measurements on them. So I wanted to share how I math at them. They give you the fact that on this sketch, this right here is 4 inches long, and so I measured this 4 inches with a ruler, and it's just shy of 2.75. So up here in the corner I wrote I'm going to divide 4 by 2.75, and that's going to give me a multiplier of 1.45. So then I went and I measured this floral. Measures in real measurement, it measures 4.75, which times 1.45 gets you 6.88 or 6 7/8. So this floral on my 12-page layout would be 6 7/8. And then on the dotted, this measures in reality at 4 3/8. That extrapolates times 1.45 to 6 3/8. The stripe, it's a quarter, or you could say it's 3/8, and that extrapolates or multiplies to either a half an inch or 5/8. I wrote down 5/8 because I like it a little thicker. And on this solid, that measures in real life to 2 1/8, and so that would multiply at 1.45 to 3 1/8. So then on this side over here, here's all. I know this might be too much math for a lot of you, but oh well, you can, I don't know. So 6 3/8 is my dot, and then I'm going to do 5/8 at my stripe, and then I'm going to do this at 3. So that gives me a pattern paper width of 10 inches, which is good because it'd leave me an inch on either side. And then obviously we know that this is 12 inches, or if you don't want to burn the paper, you could trim some off and add it under. So then knowing that it's 10 inches this way, then it also means that it would be 10 inches this way. So these papers are the dotted, the stripe, and the solid, I'm going to cut it 10 inches wide, and the floral is 12 inches. And this is going to be how we figure out our math. So I just thought I'd share that, because they don't give you any measurements, but they always give you a photo measurement. And so with a little bit of extrapolation, you can figure out, the rest of it. So for paper, I have an iris case full of birthday paper. I'm going to just bring that in frame real quick, and you can see it says birthday. So it's, it's pretty full. My goal is to keep my iris cases tidy, and so if something comes in and it's full, then something goes out, which is what happened with the dog paper the other day. So I pulled these two collections. Well, this goes actually with this. This is Bella Boulevard Birthday Bash, and it's newer. It's not dated. But, and then I have this Jillibean soup. So I don't need a ton of papers. I need 4, and then you know how sometimes I like to frame out the edge with a pattern paper. So let's see. I don't want a red because he's wearing coral. So on all of these papers, these were kind of all a pass. And that left me with these papers. And when I saw these colors, that's when I thought, I need to go look at that Jillibean soup. So let's see. It's not too bad. My husband and I both happen to love navy. It's kind of funny that it's, you know, we both have the same favorite color. For a long time, my favorite color was red, but then I just kind of went off it. I don't know. I think it's because it was the color in my kitchen for years. So I pulled this because I thought this might be more fun to use than the confetti. And you could make it work. You could make it work. And then the other reason why I wanted to pull this, well, this coral, this is a really nice match for his shirt. And then I like this color, but I don't like that it's all numbers. That seems a little juvenile. And there's this dot that would, you know, compete with that dot. So these are the papers I'm thinking about. Do you scrap birthdays? When you're older, you know, they're not as significant or as fun. They're kind of just another day on the calendar sometimes. Sometimes we're traveling for his birthday. It's a July birthday. And we were actually home for this. This was 2021 when, you know, the world is still trying not to fall apart. And I think we had traveled over the 4th, but then we came home. We were home actually on his birthday. I've got my cardstock background, which is going to be 12 by 12 Bazzill White. I am starting to panic that it's not going to come back anywhere. I don't know. I've been using Bazzill White Canvas as a background since 2006 when I converted from Creative Memories albums to using paper, you know, and putting them in 3-ring binders. So my world is going to be rocked if it's discontinued. I like the Cartabella white linen, but it's so thin. It's so thin, and I enjoy that the Bazzill is just such a nice solid weight. I had for a long time always printed my pictures to where they would have a 1/4 inch border on them. I did it. I didn't cut his finger. And recently I just kind of stopped that. I'm not sure why, but I'm liking the slightly thinner mats that I can get if I put some paper behind it. So I've got my photos trimmed, and I've got my cardstock. And let's get my sketch back out so we can narrow it down. We're looking for 4 papers and maybe a background paper. My problem is the red versus coral. So I either have to lean into it or ignore it because it's going to determine which collection I use. I do like I like that. However, it's really represented in his shirt. So if this is on there, it should be on there in small amounts. So I'm going to set that to the side. The stars say birthday to me. I like this as a polka dot to bring in the green. The confetti is fun because that connotates birthday. And then this is a nice paper, but it doesn't necessarily work with anything in the pictures. And it also doesn't say birthday. So I don't want two dots. So I'm going to opt for the green. And this is like 2 layouts in a row I've done with green, which is pretty bizarre. If I pull this in, you know what? You could pull it. You could pull it off because it's really close. The heart is so small it doesn't scream red, and that feels messy to me. We're gonna skip the king paper. He is king of my heart, but not on the layout. And I like this, so I might save this to gut and put on the outside. I'm gonna set this to the side. So I've got my papers cut, and I'm going to lay them out and show you kind of where I landed. I've got the confetti. Now mind you, here's our sketch. Maybe I can figure out how to pin that in the top like Lisa at Life and Layouts does. I'm learning. Every time I do something, I'm learning. I decided that I really did like this pop. I'm calling it coral. Salmon. Maybe that's another name for it. Are you behind on scrapping birthdays? I'm always behind on them. And I don't scrap our birthdays every year. And I'm really bad about scrapping his. And so he's such a good husband. He is so supportive and so sweet. He'll work a full day managing a big, busy store. And then he'll come home and hear my travails about, whatever I've got going on here. I don't know. I kind of like these. I like it like this. I'm just thinking about the edge of this. Oh, yeah, that's right. That's how it goes. So I've got this stripe. The stripe doesn't come in Birthday Bash. It comes in the Bella Besties line that is coordinating with the Birthday Bash. And I found this sticker strip from Echo Cartabella, Let's Celebrate, and I cut it off so I could lay it down here and see. And I didn't like it. I decided that the stripes was more festive and fun. And so I talked about having something under this. I really like that. And so I had pulled this Jillibean soup little gingham, and when I went to trim the branding strip off, this paper is like 11 7/8 long. It's not 12 inches long. And y'all, I get so tired of that. I get so tired of 12 inches not being 12 inches. So then I went digging in my Jillibean soup stash, and I found this one. And I like this star motif because I'm actually going to do some stars in my embellishment areas. But the problem is, to me, you just don't see enough of that. So then I would have to really come down. That wouldn't be terrible. Oh, y'all probably can't see it very well because of my glass board. So that is what that looks like. I just think this pops more and it's a little cleaner. So, what do you think? Gingham and 11 7/8. or get the true 12-inch and go with the stars. But on the stars I would have less white space, and I'm only starting out with an inch margin all around. So I've made my decision. Final answer, I'm going to go with the gingham because I can get more play off of it, meaning I can get more impact with less of it showing, which will leave my white margin for my effect. So this is where we're headed, and I've also pulled out the Birthday Bash ephemera icons. I'm going to look for some that are not floral and not juvenile and pull them out, and I'm thinking that it might be fun to do like a journal block right here. But here's the deal, I don't have a lot to say. I can't even find pictures where we went out to dinner or anything. I mean, I don't know what we did for his birthday. We had a nitro cold brew from Starbucks, and we did dress up. I think maybe we might have gone to the movie and eaten at the movie. I'm kind of thinking one of the Marvel movies released, maybe the one with the Scarlet. Oh, my son would be disappointed. Scarlet Widow, the one that Scarlett Scarlett Johansson plays it. Maybe Scarlett's not in the character's name at all. I'm really off track. So this calls for, so my photos kind of ended up like this. So it calls for title and then embellishment and then nothing. But I'll do, I'm going to have to do my embellishment clusters different than what this shows. So I could slide this over in title and journal here, and that's probably what I'll do. And then I could do a little journal cluster up here, a little embellishment cluster up here, and then maybe something down here, and then maybe something right here. So I've got everything that's paper taped down. I don't have my photos taped down, but I thought I would do a check-in before I went too much farther. So I called an audible and decided to pull out some of this blue cardstock to really set the white paper off from the white background. It was just kind of blending in too much. And then I was revisiting this background paper, and I realized that if I rotated it 90 degrees, that the stars were at an angle and a little more visible, and then you had a really nice row of solid stars here. So lesson learned, rotate your paper if it's a small pattern and see if it works better at a 90-degree rotation. I want to mat these photos, but if I do that, I'm really gonna be covering up a lot of the paper. So this is from the Birthday Bash die cut pack. I like it a lot, and I'm thinking about doing this birthday boy right in there, and it'll cover some of it up, but you'll still be able to see it. And that is from the Simple Stories Let's Party line, you know, down here in the phrase stickers. I'm sorry if there's a glare. For some reason I didn't buy the sticker sheet for this collection, and so I also found, I'll just bring this over. Okay, so I have these balloons here, but I think number one, well, the rainbow, it just seems very girly to me. So I found some balloons in the Simple Stories pack, and I think they work. So that's going to go there. I grabbed this, You're Kind of a Big Deal, Smile at Your Birthday and Wish Big. And I might do a little stack down here or come off of this. But I will say, I kind of felt like this cake was too big. So there are so many cakes in this ephemera pack. Little girly, redundant, unhappy. I don't like that. I don't like the yellow, and I don't like the pinwheels. slices of cake facing the wrong direction off the page. And so that leaves this one, and it's the same color palette as the first one, and I think the size works so much larger, so much better. And so look, I think that would work perfect right there. And I'm going to do my balloons over here. So let me map my photos and tape them down. And then I need to die cut some stars. I want to work some stars into this. And I need to put some foam on all of these elements. This is where we are. I opted out of a mat for the photos because, honestly, 2 reasons. I wanted to be able to see this paper, and if I added a mat, then you're not really going to be seeing this paper in the bottom corner. And secondly, if I added a mat, more than likely it would be white, and it's already sitting on white. So that was kind of seemed redundant to me and an obvious way to eliminate not only a little task, but width on the paper. And up here, I've got this on foam and laid down. I'm pretty committed to it. It's slightly different blue than this, but I'm okay with that. This and this are taped down. I've got foam on this to add to it. I like bringing in the coral over here to this corner. I still need to die cut some stars. I've got my journaling typed up, cut out, and on foam. And this is the Hero Arts journaling die. Every time I've used it, I've linked Coley Bing's video on how to use a document and cut it. So I download the Google Sheet. It's in a 5x7 format. I print it on a 5x7 piece of paper in my photo printer, and then I just run it through my Impress. On the balloons. So, I started out with these and decided they were too feminine. And then I had these laying down, and I'm not a big stickler for cream versus white, but it just really kind of hit me. And so I've got foam on them and everything. I'm going to have to set those to the side. So I pulled this smaller balloon bouquet, and in the pack there are some loose balloons. So I just grabbed some of those, and I think I'm going to go this direction, and I think I'm going to let my journaling ride up onto these balloons. And man, I'm debating on stitching because I sure would like a fine little back stitch right in here, and I think I would do it in this blue. So stay tuned for that development. Why make anything easy when you can make it take longer? I like these little party blowers, party horns, I guess. I may see if I can work these in somewhere. Oh, that's cute. And but I really got to get my stars cut so I can start making some final choices. So I'm taping these journal strips down, and I put them on that foam, and I thought I would just kind of visit with you a little bit while I did this. I wondered, do you scrap chronologically, or do you hop around like I do and just, tell a story that suits you, or what is your method? And the other thing I wondered is, do you print your pictures in advance, or do you print them as you go to make a page? I'll tell you right there, I have made a shift. I used to print, kind of batch printing. I would print a quarter at a time, and then I would deal with keeping them organized and sorted, and then, you never knew what, the date was if you were printing at home, which I started printing at home when scrapbookpictures.com went out of business. And y'all, if you want to like figure out where to place it, then I can just turn it over like this and see. Do I want to come in or out? Do I want to center? I want to come in a little. I'm trying to let my coral or salmon colored paper have its little moment. And so do you print at home? Do you print in advance? And do you scrap chronologically or all over the place? If you scrap all over the place, I'm kind of curious, how do you keep up with what you have scrapped and what you haven't? Because for me, I have a really good system on my day-to-day, my everyday photos, but I do not have a good system on my Disney trips. So I like these little party horns coming out of the journaling. And I realize to a lot of people this is trapped white space. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not really in frame very well because I was working in my chair. I think that the little party hats would look better down here in this corner by this little orange phrase sticker, and it would keep it from feeling all alone. So I'm going to put some foam tape on them. These are the little tiny strips that I put on the back of my journaling. I was looking at a layout the other day that I did several years ago and I had journaling strips on there and they looked so horrible. It was so funny. I mean, kind of sad but funny that I you know, if you can't cut them straight, you can't cut them straight. So you just, at some point, you just kind of give up and move on. I think that's maybe what I did on that layout. Do you type your journaling or do you handwrite it? I like that. So I need to pull some of the foam off of the back of this so it'll lie a little flat on there. I used to always handwrite my journaling for that wonderful personal touch that, you know, they told us in Creative Memories to tell everybody that they needed. But my youngest son said, Mom, he goes, I cannot read your handwriting. So I didn't want to give him any excuse when I'm gone to not keep my layouts. He probably won't keep them anyway. But I thought, well, I'm going to make them where he can read them. I like that. So we've got a good movement around the page. And now I need to get on those stars. So just real quick, I want to get my holes punched before the sun goes down. We're supposed to have storms later today, and so I said I was going to do the stars next, and obviously by now you can tell I'm wanting to do anything but the stars. But I thought I would just show you how I prepare my page for stitching. So I have this Omni Grid ruler, and I almost always come in to that very first hash mark. So I'll lay it down, square it up, and then do a pencil line. And I usually make sure my corners are good before I go too far to one side or the other. And then of course you just want to make sure you're putting your paper piercer into the center of the line. It seems like sometimes to me it wants to hop up to either the top or the bottom. Now when I've got an element here, I don't have to worry about it being super precise, but I'll go in a little bit behind that so that my stitch comes out running. So that's the trick for me for stitching, and I've just been doing this so long that I just eyeball it. Now right here I'm going through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces of paper, so I'm getting a little more resistance, which that means I'm gonna have to take a few breaks because I don't always have the patience for this. The other thing I'll say is when I get up here, I'm gonna ignore running thread behind this. If I get it stitched and I hate it, then I can come back and pop them up. But for now, I'm going to run my stitch to here and then resume it here. After I get all of my holes poked, I'll get my little no residue eraser, and I'll erase all my pencil lines, and then that way I don't have to worry about them showing in the layout when it's done. Here's a little update. I've got all of my holes punched, pencil lines erased. I've got my stars punched. I picked these 4 colors and did 4 sizes, so now I'll work on, oh, I'm sorry, I thought I did another color. I did 5 colors because I did the blue. And then here's my thread that I'm going to use. I'm pretty excited about it. So I am back with what I think is the finished layout. I want to share a few things. First of all, I have found in looking at pages in my album that when I use the enamel dots, that they really affect the page on the other side. And I have seen where they pull off the color out of my picture and you'll just have a little absence of color. So since I started sharing these process videos, you have seen me use any enamel dots, and that's why. And I thought about it for this because, you know, pop of color and little confetti, but I didn't, and so I wanted to explain that. The second thing I want to share is the dies that I used. These are old paper smooches. Man, I haven't said that name in so long. And then these here are Pink Fresh nested dies. I shared that I make cards in a video. The first process layout I did, Crafty Girl, was about me learning to make cards. And so that's what introduced me to Pink Fresh, and I picked these up. Big fan of the nesting dies, especially, you know, if you wanted to stitch, then you would lay this down and put the other one down and you'd have an automatic template. So those are the dies I used. I wanted to make sure I let you know that this star paper for my background is too cool for school, and that Jillibean soup, that paperweight is so lovely. These are the stars I had left, and when I went around placing them, I was just looking for what colors were not present in that cluster already. So, you know, here obviously I've got yellow, and then this is aqua, so that left me with my 3 other colors. Here I've got the orange, and the blue is right here, so I didn't want to double up on the blue. Over here I added 2 stars to complement this one, so there would be 3. And up here again, no blue, and I felt like green was right here, so that's why I picked those 3 colors. And then over here, the aqua here, and I like how it's on aqua and it's very subtle. You know, orange, I didn't want to highlight. There was orange and orange here, and so I didn't want to highlight orange, and I didn't want to highlight the green because green here and green here. So that's how I selected my colors. On this guy, I will end up putting it back in my sticker sheets for birthday or in a page protector, and so I'll just lay this on some wax paper and slide it back in so it's there for the next time. I wanted to say I'm having a lot of fun doing these videos for you all, so I hope that you're enjoying them. If you are, why don't you share my channel with a friend? So it would be fun to connect with more scrapbookers. I think I've said before, I don't have a scrapbooking friend right here with me. I don't know if I can say it. My friend Sheila, she moved away 2.5 years ago, and we talk a lot and we text a lot, but it's just a lot of fun to have a connection, you know, right near you. So y'all are kind of the people I'm adopting as my neighbors that scrap. So thanks for watching. Thanks for being interested in my channel. It's a lot of fun to see the views that the videos get, and I just wanted to say thanks so very much. So I'm really pleased with this. It looks fun. I don't think it looks juvenile. I think it is appropriate. I love the colors. I'm loving this green. So I'll just read the journaling real quick. My birthday boy. We had a quiet celebration at home, having just returned from Walt Disney World for the 4th. We went to see Black Widow and just enjoyed a fun day together. Now, I had said earlier it was Scarlet Widow, so no, it was Scarlett Johansson. And just kind of a close-up of some of the clusters and such. I'm pretty pleased with my stitching. Down here I was fighting the lines and it looks a little cattywampus, but you know, it's going to go under a page protector. People aren't going to study it like me, and the DMC that I used was 825. So thanks so much for scrapping with me today. I hope that you were able to get something done. Tell me, what was the last layout you did and what are you working on next? I am pretty excited about my next layout. It's for the Allison Davis Week 3 Design Concepts class that Scrapbook and Cards Today is hosting. And the theme for the week is large design, and I know what I'm going to do, and I'm going to pull that paper next. So until next time, see ya.
Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a thing. I'll be back soon with more layouts, videos, and a little stash busted magic. So please come back and crop with me. Until next time, happy scrapping, and remember, this is where paper meets story. Bye-bye.